What's dangling, guys? Today I'm going to be taking you through this insane cracked Reiner deck that can just like kill your opponent on no matter what side you're on, whether it's your human side or the flipped Titan side. So the theme I've gone through here is to try and mill yourself out as quick as possible. So I've got about 72 cards I think now, which I think is like a good point that you can mill yourself out but not like get cycle too often. And it kind of finds the sweet spot between staying on your front side to get the speed and damage, and then flipping on your own turn to get the -5 damage that he comes with on his other side. So to start with, we've got Reiner Brawn Warrior, 6 health, 6 hand size, 17 health. If you lose the game due to him being reduced below 1 health, you flip over onto this side. But first we'll get into his abilities here. You just mill 4, your attack gets +1 damage for each different card type among the cards milled this way. But if you have cycled, you get an extra speed for every different type. And then once you die on this side, going below 1, you flip over to this side, which is static ability. Your rival's first attack this thing each turn gets -5 damage, so basically you're just like zeroing out their first attack every time. And I've got some cool little combos, well, one little cool combo in there that makes you actually live like a tiny bit longer. Then his enhance ability is, so when you flip over to this side, you go back up to 17 health as well. Enhance, remove 3 cards from your discard pile. Your attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each different card type in your stage. If you've cycled this game, you may also add 1 card from your momentum to your hand. So you're removing 3 cards, getting 1/1 for each different type. So that's asset, which is 1, foundation, which is another, backup, which is another, and character. So you can get +4/+4 pretty consistently, which is insane. And also recycling an attack that you've hit with previously from your momentum. Yeah, so that's the character. Now let's go into the attack package that I went with. So first up, I've just got 2 Besiege, 3 def, 3 check, 3 mid for 4 with a 1 block, although I will say now, I'm not going to say the block zones because we're not really blocking too much in this deck. We're just trying to minimize damage and just take damage because we kind of want to flip at some point. But anyway, Blitz, this attack can only be blocked by cards with a printed block modifier of 3 or greater. And then Deadlock Blitz, this attack gets +4 damage. We don't ever really get to Deadlock in my testing so far because we're killing them very, very quick. So yeah, base, this is a can only be blocked by a 3 block modifier, so it's technically kind of 6 speed. They have to check a 6 to block it. And then Reiner gives it on average about 2 damage. You normally build a foundation and then a attack. So yeah, we'll go base for everything as base, an extra 2 damage, and if you're cycled as well, get +2/+2, so it's a 5 for 6. But on its opposite side, it very easily becomes a 7 mid for 8, and they have to have a block modifier, which is insane. The next card, which is like probably the MVP card of all of them, and you notice we're doing 3 diffs, so we can throw out a lot of attacks, is a 3 low for 3. If you have 2 more Blitz, if you have 2 more attacks in your remove pile, this attack gets +2 damage. If you have 5 more attacks in your remove pile, this attack gets +3 speed. So on this side of the character, this card is insane because you can target remove attacks to easily get 5 or more attacks in your remove pile, and you generally want to be removing the 5. You'll have already moved some probably from cycling, and then you also get the target remove to get the extra, so it becomes a 6 low for 2 damage before you damage pump it at all. And then with the Reiner enhance, you get to give it +4/+4, so it becomes, what's that, a 10 low for 9. No, 10 low for, yeah, 10 low for 9 on a 3 difficulty is actually insane. Next up, we have 4 copies of Desperate Slash, 3 high for 3. You'll very often if you do it right, or just by taking damage to reduce it as much as possible, whatever, you will be at 10 or less health, so it automatically becomes a 3 diff, and you get +1 damage, so it's a 3 high for 4. You get to mill 3, fill up your discard pile for either to have more resources to remove with Reiner's flip side, and it gets +1 speed and +1 damage for each foundation milled this way. So I'm generally getting +2/+2, so it's already a 5 for 6. 5 high for 6, and then with Reiner it becomes a 9 high for 10 on a technically a 3 diff. So that's crazy. You can throw 3 of these out. You can throw 1 of each on a 3, on a 4, on a 5, which is super easy to pass, and you're already representing about like 30 damage. You can just, if they've got no defense, no cards in hand, you can one-shot someone with these 3 attacks. Next up, we've got 4 copies of Beast Summoning, a 3 mid for 5, has stun 1. This card is actually really good to get the correct timing to flip. Say you've got like your last attack and you've already cycled, you want to flip over on your turn so that their first attack is coming in with -5 rather than being left on like 2 health, say, and then they kill you with their first attack and then you don't actually get the static. This card can lose 4 health to activate the flip. Now on their turn, they're going to first attack's going to get -5 damage, and you also get to pick up another block if you potentially want to block again, or you want to use it for the next turn. And also you get to, if you have 30 more cards in your discard pile, you get to ready a 3, 4, or 5 diff, which there is a few in this deck, so it can also work really well to this one where it's like multiple reuses, and it's really good. I'll show you later. Also got stun 1, and then in Reiner it's a on his flip side it's a 7 mid for 9, which is also very good. Yeah. The next attack is 4 of Resounding Screech, 4 mid for 4. Response, mill 2, after this card is removed, your attack gets +1 speed. This is just kind of just one of the target remove cards because you get extra speed and you get the extra mill, which is more resources to remove on Reiner. Because I also found that once by the timing of your flip, you kind of discard, you've kind of just cycled and your discard pile is relatively small, so it's always good to mill more into the discard pile. So that's just an extra free speed and making it worthwhile removing. Next up is 1 Turn It Up. It's kind of a placeholder for my deck so far until I get the card that I'm after, but it's also very good in here anyway because you just get to mill to fill up your discard pile to potentially cycle. And yeah, in Reiner it's a so it's base 5 mid for 2. You generally can normally get a 3 block mod on top, so it's normally a 5 for 5, and then in Reiner it's a 9 for 9 on a 4 diff. Next up, this is another placeholder card that I have so far, but it's also very good. It's just a base 5 difficulty 4 check. 4 checks, we love it, especially on a low difficulty attack. 5 low for 4 in Reiner. This is a 9 low for 8, very good. This is not a placeholder card, this is just a card that I have a 1 of. Attack Titan's Haymaker. It's a good opening because it's got stun 2. It's a 4 mid for 5. It cannot be blocked by cards with a printed difficulty of 2 or less, so you can kind of scout out what they have in their hand. If they don't want to block it, it means they've got attacks left in their hand. Wait, this attack cannot be blocked by cards with a printed difficulty 2 or less. Okay, so yeah, if they block it, you know they've got attacks in their hand. If they can't block it, you know they've only got foundations. And in Reiner's flip side, it's a 9 mid for 8 mid for 9, and it also has shift, and it flips into this, which is more mill. So you don't feel bad about playing it on your human side because you just get to fill up your discard pile more, and it gets 1 damage, and then if you have 10 or less health, which you quite often do, being a 17 health, you get 2 damage instead for free, and you get to mill to also fill up your discard pile. It's a win-win. This is a, I need to get 2 more of these ideally, which will be replace the placeholder cards, but 5 mid, 3, 5 difficulty, 3 check, 5 mid for 5, Blitz, discard 1 card, draw card. Good for filling up your discard pile if you're on his flip side and you need to have more resources to remove. It's also good for, technically it's a mill, because you're putting another one in there and drawing off the top. And then if you've cycled and you're on Reiner's flip side, this is like probably one of the MVP cards to open with. They're either going to take a lot of damage or they're going to block and use all their resources, and then you just slam them with your 3 diffs. So if you've cycled this game, it becomes a 8 mid for 8, which is already insane stats, but then combined with Reiner, if you have getting +4/+4, it becomes a 12 mid for 12. So very good opener. They're either going to block it or lose almost half of their health if they're, say, a 30 health character. Determined Advance is another placeholder card, but it's also still very good. 6 mid for 6, it cannot be reduced below printed. So opening the string, they're going to have to use a lot of resources to block it. Take a lot of damage otherwise, and you get to add the top card to your deck through momentum. And we love Reiner because he gets to fish cards out of his momentum, so you could potentially hit a attack off the top of his deck. And it kind of counts as a mill because you're moving from your deck. So in Reiner, this is a 10 mid for 10, not bad at all. Defeating Colossus Titan, I originally had this at 2 of, I've reduced it down to 1 now because you kind of have to sacrifice a lot to make it really, really good. But if you're on his human side and you want to try flip before, say you've cycled and you want to try flip to get the -5 damage, this is a very easy way to do it. If you have 5 health, you instantly just sacrifice your 5 health to flip, and then you get 5 extra speed, so it's 11 high for 6. And then, or if you want to get down to like very low health and then maybe sacrifice the last bit of your health for the beast summoning or something, then you get down to, so it becomes a 11 high for 6, and then you can activate the second blitz, which is gets 4 damage if you have less than half your health, and being a 17 health character, it is not hard to get below your half health, so then it becomes a 11 high for 10. And then with Reiner, if you've cycled on his front side, you can potentially hit 2, so it's +2/+2, so then it becomes a 13 for 12, and very good opener, no matter what side you're on. Smiling Titan attacks, this is a very, you kind of play this as a defensive piece. 7 difficulty, 4 check. Blitz, your rival spends by momentum. We're not too fussed about that. I mean, it's good on some characters, but on his flip side, this is a 10 high for 10. So it's already doing what a 7 difficulty should. But the main defensive piece is when you shift and you come into your next turn, you get to lose a stamina, and they have to attack this card first. And their first attack is already coming in with -5 damage, so they're kind of just going to... Most people just throw their attack out and just say, okay, we're just sacrificing this one so that I can actually attack you. So then this kind of doesn't really lose any health, so you get to use it every time. Because you're only sacrificing 1 stamina, and they're just going to throw out a low damage attack so that they're not wasting their resources on a backup. If you know what I mean. Yeah, so this is kind of like your sacrificial lamb to like make you live even longer. So yeah, that's the attack package. It's about 24 attacks, I think I've got it down to. I've got about a 34% attack to rest of card foundation. 34% of the deck is attacks, which I think is acceptable because you're playing very aggressive because you've got very good defense on the side, and you want to just kill, especially with the low difficulty attacks that are coming in for a lot of damage. Anyway, foundations. First, quick to act. If your current health is less than half your maximum health, this attack gets +1 speed. Quite often we're going to be at below half health because one big attack can do that to us quite easy. With our less than half of our health being, what is it, 8? So if we just take 9 damage, we're already at half health. We have 4 of these on board. That's an extra +4 speed, along with Reiner's +4 speed on his by himself. So we can potentially be getting 8 if you've got 2, 6 speed. Pretty self-explanatory. Another 0 diff, 1-man Inferno, mill 1, your rival mills 1, filling up the discard pile to cycle quicker. Ignite, this is very good for continuing our attack strings. Destroy, your next check to play card gets +1, only playable if you have 10 or more removed cards, and this is playable while committed. We're removing 3 cards with Reiner every time on our first 2 attacks. We already removed 6. We would have cycled already to get the extra damage, to get the extra effects. So we're easily going to be at 10 already, and it's playable while committed. So we just use it earlier on the string, blow it up later to play one of our later attacks. It's actually a very good card and is not used in a lot of decks because not many people can utilize the 10 removed. Into our 1 difficulties, we've got Mikas's Emission. Response, it's a 6 check as well, which is also really good. Remove after you've discarded this card during the combat phase, take its -2 or +2 damage. It's very good on his front side for trying to live a little bit longer so you can cycle. And it feels very good to hit either on offense or defense, because on defense it means you get to live a little longer. On offense it means you get to do a little bit more chip damage, and you're also filling up your removed pile for potentially Ignite. Next up we've got 2 Attack Titans Hardening, Enhance, sacrifice 1 Foundation. This attack gets -1 damage. If you've cycled this game, you may give it +1 speed and +1 damage instead. So this kind of combos very well with Mikas's Admission. If you have to build one of these early on, you can sacrifice it if you haven't cycled yet, to try to live a little bit longer. Sacrifice it, it activates the -2 damage, and you're also getting -1 damage here, so you're sacrificing for -3 damage. And then once you've used it to survive, you can then it just becomes an absolute powerhouse for your attacks. Everything just becomes +1 speed and +1 damage in your later attacks once you've committed some and you're going for the kill. Very good. Next we've got 2 of A Father's Sin. Response, after you play this card, mill 4. If you milled 2 or more attacks this way, draw 1 card. This is very good for the front side when you need to fill up your discard pile. And then if you mill 2 attacks, you get to draw a card, which is very good because this is a high attack ratio. So it's quite common that you'll hit 2 attacks and then you get to draw a card, potentially get another thing to build, or get another attack if you just need that 1 more and you play this earlier on in your string. Next we have 3 Betraying Marcos. I actually need to get a 4th one, but I haven't found one yet. So this would technically be 4 Betraying Marcos. So this is a Enhance, mill 1 if you have at least 1 backup and at least 1 asset in your stage. This attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. This deck, I would just say right now, is very easy to get an asset and a backup in, because this is the whole enhancing what his flip side does. So you will be, if you get one in your hand, you will definitely build it quickly. So pretty much all of your attacks are going to get mill 1 for another resource to sacrifice, to remove on his flip side, and it's basically just a free 1/1, which is already insane because you have 2 of these on the board and you got Reiner. Everything's basically +6/+6. Next we have another 2 difficulty, Fight for the Truth. Response, flip at the start of your end. It's not even at the start of your end phase, it's just at the start of the end phase. Mill 3, add 1 card milled this way to your hand, so you can do it on your rival's turn because it's just at the start of the end phase. It's filling up your discard pile, and it's also getting you another resource in your hand to potentially review away if you don't want it, or to know what your next attack is. But basically it's just to, it's for the mill basically. And then Deadlock Response, flip at the start of your combat phase. Add 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. If we do go to Deadlock, we get to choose our really good attack that we want, that we know is going to kill them. Next up is 4 of Squadmate's Betrayal. 3 difficulty, another 6 check. Always feels good to check a 6, even though we're running quite low difficulties. Enhance, flip. This attack gets -3 damage. Just trying to live a little bit longer on his front side if we need to. Next up, 3 difficulty, enhance, commit. Your next check to play an attack gets +2. This is good. This is the combo I was saying for beast summoning. If you have 30 or more cards in your discard pile, ready 1 foundation with a printed difficulty 3, 4, or 5. This is one of the 3s. You give your next check +2. You play this, it passes, you get to re-ready it, boom, you get to use it again to play your next attack. It always feels good when you have these on the board and a beast summoning. Next up is 3 difficulty, Desperate Struggle. This is just basically to try and make you live longer, make you harder to kill. Flip after your rival's attack gets a damage bonus, return it to its printed damage, and then also response flip after your rival's attack gets a speed bonus, return it to its printed speed. So basically always using it for the damage bonus because we're not blocking normally. Unless we really need to, then we can probably reset it. So that's it for the foundations. Now we're going on to assets. First up is 1 difficulty Pro Hero Rankings. This is just for, we've got 3 of it. This is just for cycling, keeping our attacks so we don't run out of attacks. Because the aim of the game for this character is to cycle. So of course we've got to have 3 of this, and it's also another asset that we can use once we build it. It gives us +1/+1 on our flip side. And it also works in his front side to mill, because if we mill different card types, this is a different card type to this, that's already +3. Yeah, so we get to shuffle 5 attacks that were removed due to cycle back into our deck on a cycle. And I have used it for the +1 damage for each foundation, but yeah, that's not really what it's there for. Next up, we have 3 takoyaki, 1 difficulty, 6 check. Feels good to check the 6. This is just like for minus damage, basically. I've always used it for the minus damage, making it harder to kill, to play around that like life total thing. Like, yeah, like that's the thing with minus damage, is you want to stay around you want to time your flip for you. You don't want your rival to time your flip. So minus damage is always good, and you get to draw a card, which is kind of getting closer to cycle as well. Then we have 2 soups. This card is nuts on an uncommon. 1 difficulty, 5 check. It's just after you play this card, build it. So if you want to try block with it, if you do block with it, it builds down instantly. And then it's got enhance, commit, your attack gets +1 damage and gain 1 health. It's basically -1 damage for us. We want to play with our health as much as possible. And then it's also good to get a free asset build for the flip side, to get the extra +1/1. So it always feels good to, when I get this in my hand, I'm like, I need to play it. Just play it first and it builds down instantly. Next up we have our backups. 2 difficulty, Grish's attack. We have 4 of them. This one has 6 stamina, but it doesn't use its stamina. It just goes form, sacrifice, add 1 fury attack from your discard pile to your hand. We will always be using this to target increased hostility, because this is like our finisher, or just like a really good damage pump. We can use it for this, but I'd rather target the increased hostility. I think there's a few. Desperate Slash is good as well as a fury. Resounding Screech, but that will most likely be removed. I think that's it for our few. Attack Titan's Outrage can be a good target for if we like have no attacks at all, because we can pick it up as a form. So even if we have no attacks in our hand, we can get this, play it, and then if we're on our flip side, we get to fish out the attacks in our momentum. And you can also discard 1 card, draw 1 card, potentially get another one. This is a Fury, but that's a placeholder card. This is a Fury, but we're not normally targeting that one. So I can pick up a lot of different cards, but mainly the increased hostility is what I've been targeting with it. If I need to, like, if they've blocked everything that I've thrown at them, even though it's coming at fast and hard, and then I've run out of attacks and I'm like, oh, hold up, I need to get like an extra 3 or 4 damage. I will go target one of my 3 difficulty increased hostilities that's coming in for what, 10 speed for 11, and I'll just go grab that. And it also gives us +1/+1 on the board with this flip side. And then the last card is another 2 difficulty backup. Massive Abnormal Titan. It's got 5 stamina. This one does use stamina. So it's commit, lose 1 stamina, mill 1. If the milled card this way is a non-attack card, add it to your hand. It's kind of, even if you mill a non-attack card or an attack card, you don't feel bad about it. It's getting closer to the cycle. It's filling up your discard pile. And if it's not an attack card, you get to draw a card anyway for potentially another block or potential another attack. So it's good on defense and offense. And yeah, just filling up your discard pile. Anyway, that is the attack and foundation and asset packages for this deck. And then all the testing that I've done so far, this character is like been insane. Like, everyone gets so frustrated trying to kill it, and then it just swings back at you twice as hard as you just swinged at it. Yeah, the cool combinations, I'd say, probably the Smiling Titan and Reiner's flip side. Just using this to tank the first attack, which is going to come in for peanuts amount of damage, because no one wants to pump the damage on an attack that's attacking a backup. Another cool combo is, like I said before, this citywide celebration with beast summoning. If you have played a couple attacks, say you've played one of these and Desperate Slash, you've already committed some resources down. You can commit this to, this will be on a 4/5/6. Check a 3, it doesn't feel as bad because you've got +2 to check. You check a 5, commit another one for a 6. You get to use this to re-ready it, to then drop like your bombshell of increased hostility on a 3, 4, 5, 6. If you want to commit again, you get it auto pass pretty much as well, even if you check a 5. And yeah, that's probably the coolest combos I've found so far. If you get this in your hand, you instant build it. These 2 difficulties are very easy to build, so if you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, that's already +4/+4 on his flip side. Yeah, those are the coolest combos I can think of, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this deck. I will leave the UVS Ultra link with like the proper deck without these placeholder cards, which I will be getting very soon. I've already got the cards lined up for next week. But yeah, I'll leave the UVS Ultra deck link in the description below, and let me know what other cool combos you could think of for this deck that I could potentially put in, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.